building together. That's more than just a campaign slogan. Building together is something which God in His grace has allowed the members of Mount Olive to do in the past. And building together is something which under His guiding hand, God will enable the members of Mount Olive to do in the future. But just exactly what will we build together? And perhaps more importantly, why and how will we build it? This video is designed to answer important questions like these.
In 1919, Mount Olive Lutheran Church initiated its very first building project. Determined to share the gospel of Jesus Christ in the English language, Mount Olive constructed an elegant stone building at the corner of Oneida and Franklin Street in Appleton. This step of faith required both commitment and sacrifice on the part of our forefathers. Back in 1969, the congregation took yet another step of faith by relocating to the north side of Appleton. A commitment to Christian education led them to first construct an elementary school with a gymnasium, dedicating it all to the glory of God.
I think after the first year or two, we started with about 90 pupils. We'd see the blessings to the congregation and to the parents and the families, and we took in so many new families that were good members, they're still good members today, who sent their children to school and joined the church. And our church started to grow, and I think people started to realize the Lord was giving us many blessings through our school. By 1972, we had to add 4 more classrooms.
In 1980, the congregation took on the challenge of constructing the beautiful sanctuary in which we still worship today. Each of these building projects required the congregation to work together towards a common goal. Each required a commitment, a sacrifice on the part of individual members. And yet, the gospel ministry which Mount Olive intended to carry out in these buildings is still going on today. Faith is still being nourished through word and sacrament. God's people gather to offer to God their worship and praise. The Christian faith is passed on to the next generation. Children receive education for their mind, soul, and body. Adults and teens grow in their knowledge of God's Word and its application for their lives.
When me and my mom come, it makes us feel stronger. When you feel stronger, you take that back to your house, and it makes everyone else around you feel stronger, and that's just a good feeling to have around the house.
People use their time to serve God and their fellow man. Christians gather for Christian fellowship, supporting and encouraging one another. Believers reach out with the gospel to a community desperately in need of the good news. And yet, as one reviews Mount Olive's current ministry program along with its current facility, it becomes apparent that there are some things that are hindering an expansion of gospel ministry, such as a lack of climate control in the sanctuary. When the temperature goes up, the attendance does go down. Difficult access to the basement and balcony. Limited space for fellowship and informal gatherings. Limited space for pre-kindergarten class. Limited and disjointed office space. Limited off-street parking. Cramped seating. And limited gym space. And all of these obstacles are limiting our opportunities to conduct gospel ministry.
The thing that really struck me was when the Synod consultants came and said, you've got all these resources and you've got all these good programs, but you're not growing, and you need to do the Lord's work with the blessings that you have. So the building program to me helps us to do more with what we have and extend our facility and really do the Lord's work.
Back in 1999, Mount Olive began to develop a plan to address these facility needs. First, Mount Olive reviewed its mission as a congregation. It set a vision of the kind of program it wanted to offer. The Building Expansion Committee developed a floor plan to meet the current and future needs of the congregation. The plan consists of 4 components. An expanded narthex will allow informal fellowship before and after worship. The west nave will feature a coffee bar, adult library, and seating for small groups, funeral visitations, and the like. An elevator to the basement and balcony, as well as an expanded area for instrumentalists in the balcony and air conditioning for the narthex and entire sanctuary, would be included in this component of the project. The second component of the project consists of the classrooms and office space. 3 classrooms will be converted to office and workroom space. One main entrance will be easily monitored by the school staff. Classes for kindergarten and pre-kindergarten will be moved out of the basement and relocated into larger classrooms on the main floor. Current classrooms are converted into adult Bible class space. To replace the rooms which are converted to office and Bible class space, 5 additional classrooms will be built as a second floor on the north wing. The third area to be addressed in the master site plan is an expansion of the sanctuary. The expansion increases the number of seats from 516 to 750, while at the same time increasing the space between the pews. The plan calls for the current altar area to be moved back while retaining its beautiful design. A modification of the side walls will allow video presentations to be made without disruption in the worship service. A wider chancel will allow handicapped access for a larger number of people for Holy Communion. And finally, an expansion of the gym will provide additional floor space for recess, Fayette, and other sporting events. Multiple teams would be able to practice at the same time, thus reducing the need for late-night practices for grade school teams. Plans also call for additional changing rooms and a concessions area on the ground floor. An expanded gym means expanded opportunities for Mount Olive to reach out to young people inside and outside of the congregation.
Building together is an opportunity for all of Mount Olive's members to work together to accomplish a task that will have an impact on people's lives now and for generations to come. It's a chance to let God guide our congregation, both as a group and as individuals. I'm asking you to begin praying about what role you will have in building together. Bring the matter to God in prayer. Ask, Lord, how are you going to use me to accomplish your will for Mount Olive? God has already made the ultimate sacrifice for us on a cross. Building together gives us an opportunity to respond to that sacrifice with a sacrifice of our own. As those early Mount Olive members, let's seize the opportunity that God is giving to us. With gratitude in our hearts, with an eye to the future, and with faith that trusts that God will provide, let us begin this exciting task of building together.